Let's kick it off here with Doug Bowser, who last week announced his retirement from NOA. Tom Marks mentioned it on the show last week. Thanks so much to Tom for holding down the fort while I was away. But we're going to dive deep into Doug Bowser's retirement now. He will retire as President and Chief Operating Officer on December 31st, 2025, he released a statement that says, "One of my earliest video game experiences was playing the arcade version of Donkey Kong. Since that time, all things Nintendo have continued to be a passion for both me and my family. Leading Nintendo of America has been the honor of a lifetime, and I am proud of what our team has accomplished in both business results and the experiences we've created for consumers. Now it's time for the next generation of leadership, and Devon's track record speaks for itself. She is an exceptional leader, and her promotion is a testament to her strong performance and strategic contributions to the company's growth. I have full confidence that she will guide the company to even greater heights." So yes, he mentioned his successor, Devon Pritchard, a 19-year veteran of the video game industry and a long-standing member of Nintendo of America. She has held executive positions in marketing, business affairs, publisher relations, and is currently Nintendo of America's executive vice president of revenue, marketing, and consumer experience. So we'll talk about her in a little bit. Let's start with the Doug Bowser side of things, kind of the looking back. Bowser joined NOA in 2015 as vice president of sales and marketing. He led the promotion and release of Nintendo Switch in North America, and then he took over for Reggie Fils-Aimé as president of NOA in 2019. So Brian, I'll throw to you first. Kind of looking back, what do you think that Doug Bowser's legacy is going to be as he leaves Nintendo of America here in a couple of months?
I mean, outside of the biggest one of being, having the same name as their most iconic villain, which no one will ever get over. And when I explain that to people who don't, who aren't this head down on Nintendo stuff every day, they're like, wait, really? Is that why he got hired? It's like, no, very much not. But I think that this year specifically, what a high note to go out on, right? This is such a kind of mic drop for him. They just launched the Nintendo Switch 2. It's the fastest selling console in video game history. They open up a new store in San Francisco. They open up a new theme park. They have basically, they announced the next Mario movie coming. All of those things are sort of, they're not all his doing. They've all been irons in the fire that have been kind of cooking for a very long time. But he helped to oversee bringing a lot of those things to the finish line. And that is pretty incredible to do all of that this year and be like, hey, I didn't launch some bomb console that no one's buying, no one cares about, and I'm just going to pass the torch to somebody else, right? Not to name names, but whoever inherits the Xbox brand next, that's rough, right? That's like some comedian gets on stage and just completely bombs, and then you got to go, all right, is anyone still here? And so Doug Bowser did some phenomenal work at Nintendo over the years, but specifically this year, watching all of this stuff happen and succeed, and then him getting to be like, cool, we're in good hands. Can I go? And everyone being like, yeah, man, round of applause. You can get out of here. It's really, really awesome to see. And I'm excited to see what the next generation of leadership does at NOA.
I think it's just so smart to leave on your own kind of terms instead of getting to the point where in the market where the fans turn on you eventually, because that tends to happen with execs that stay in a position for too long. Something inevitably goes a little bit south at one point or another, whether it's a small bump or a big bump. And then everybody's like, I can't wait for this guy to be gone, or whoever to be gone out of this position, or the memes and everything like that. Which I can't think of any instances with that really. I can't think of many speed bumps that happened during the Switch era under Bowser, other than, taking princesses, left and right. That happened a couple times throughout that era.
Yeah, 2 times today. Yeah.
I actually met him for the first time before he was head. I want to say it was back in 2014 or so. It was at a conference I met him. Or maybe it was 2015. I think I met him because he joined NOA in 2015, you said, right, Logan?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So I think it was 2015. I met him at a conference or something. It was and he was super chill then. And then every interaction I've ever had with this guy has just been so authentic and genuine. He was there at the Nintendo store opening in San Francisco, and just seeing him kind of talk with the few people that were there that during those opening days and just have really just fun conversations with them it's great. I haven't met Devon yet, so we'll be very interested to see how the wider public takes to her, because it'll be a very it's we're at this like big moment for the Switch 2's lifetime. It's where it's like we're 1 year in, we've got great momentum. Whether that momentum continues or fall or stops, that could immediately be just kind of placed on her shoulders, and how the fans kind of react to that. Like, oh, the Switch 1 was so great, and then Switch 2, now we've got a new person and they're not as good because we didn't get as many new games, when that is not their job as well.
At all. No,
at all.
not at all.
So, but yeah, I'm very excited for this new era of Nintendo. And like you said, Logan, Devon's been there for 19 years. So that's so much time, so much experience with everything under the Nintendo brand to just have a little bit of experience with, from almost all their franchises have had a release in the last 19 years, I'd say. So it'll be very interesting to see what kind of gets the focus and what kind of direction she pushes the company towards.
You said that he didn't really have any big roadblocks, but I would argue that he actually handled one with quite a bit of grace, which was COVID-19.
That's a good point.
That was the huge one. And acknowledging that Doug Bowser did not run the entirety of Nintendo. He ran Nintendo of America. Like, it was not his job to decide the direction of the company in its entire. But I mean, we're watching right now the after effects of a whole lot of companies and business people and leadership not handling that pandemic well. We saw the immediate term, which is, okay, are people, are people allowed to work remotely? What are people are safety concerns being taken seriously? But now we're seeing the after effects of people spending money in ridiculous ways, right? Like, the whole industry is currently buckling under the fact that executives just spent and invested because they thought that the big gaming spend of COVID-19 was just going to keep going, which was an absurd thing to think. Like, I don't even know why anyone thought that was going to keep going forever. But I mean, notably, Nintendo doesn't seem to have gone down that road, right? Like, I mean, we don't know their inner workings, and I'm never going to pretend that it's like a perfectly rosy company all around, but I'll note that they're not like shutting down internal studios and, from what we can tell, canceling projects left and right. Like, they seem to be fine. And Doug Bowser was a part of that whole, right? Like, he was a part of a larger, keeping the ship steady and just keep on keeping on during that time. And, they did all right. I would also say, too, that I think maybe Doug Bowser's great, apart from having a hand in that and the Switch being part of his legacy, I think a big part of his legacy is not really having one, in the sense that he was very quiet compared to Reggie. Like, he did not take the spotlight. He did not, get out in front of people and talk a lot about what he was doing and what he was working on. So it was often very difficult to sort of figure out his place in what Nintendo was doing and what Nintendo of America was doing. And I think that's fine. Like, I don't think executives need to necessarily be celebrities. It's maybe better if they're not. But it is sort of interesting after, Reggie's time with the company to see, a president who very much took a step back and was not a super visible face on a day-to-day basis. And I'm curious where Devon's going to fall in that.
Yeah, I loved the era of Reggie Fils-Aimé playing a character. Which, like, by all accounts, that's what he was doing. But at the same time, like, that made sense for the time period where you had to get up and do live stage shows and command a crowd. And Reggie was amazing at that. And not to say Doug Bowser isn't, but like, that's not what any video game company is really doing anymore, right? We don't get, for better or worse, we don't really get big E3 press conferences where things break and the crowd goes wild, or, you get like 4 guys that work at IGN that are really disappointed and then really excited, and then it becomes a meme for like 30 years. We don't get that anymore. And so, the Reggie era made sense for what they were doing at the time. I will always love it.
Reggie Fils-Aimé.
Yeah, it will always make me happy.
Oh my
but things are different now. And so actually I do miss a little bit of that kind of
the pageantry.
A little bit of the pageantry that you would get with it. But who knows? Who knows if that will ever return? Like, it's at one point it was literally a puppet show, right? Like, they brought puppets in, and there's all this really fun stuff that I'm very nostalgic about that era. But it also makes sense that they didn't want that to be their entire brand forever.
Yeah, I miss the pageantry, but I also don't necessarily think that the company president needs to be the one participating in it, right? Yeah. Like you could have, we could have sillier Nintendo Directs that don't involve Doug Bowser or Devon Pritchard or whatever, but they decided when when Reggie and the other higher-ups at Nintendo decided to abandon that was also an era transition. And I don't necessarily believe that one has to follow from the other, but that is what happened.
Yeah, I think that's exactly right, Reb. I think that people draw this firm line in the sand of Reggie left and Nintendo stopped having like a face and a personality. I don't think that's the case. If you go back and look at the last couple of years of Reggie's tenure, he was a lot less forward-facing, still much more than Doug was in Doug's tenure, but kind of at that switch to the Switch generation. Like Reggie didn't even really present the Switch on stage in 2017 when they showed it off. He wasn't really as much in the directs anymore. The directs kind of started to transition to the format we have now, where it's much more cut and dry, trailer to trailer. And then Reggie steps away, and then Doug is much less forward facing, but that's already the direction Nintendo is heading. But Reggie already had this rapport with the audience that it would have been weird to just kind of pull him out of the spotlight completely. So I think that's where Nintendo was going. And I think Bowser's not the cause of that. It was more of a symptom of that larger shift in philosophy that was already well underway. So I think people are a little bit unfair to him online. I think that he announced he was leaving, and this is surely a small segment of the audience, but a big takeaway was, wow, a presidency where he did nothing. I'm like, well, maybe he didn't do any sketches with like where he was like claymation and stuff. That doesn't mean he didn't do anything. He ran a company. That was his job. That's the job description, not appear in these cute videos and like build a friendship with you as an audience. So I felt like people were being a little bit unfair to him when by all accounts, he did a great job. Like you mentioned, Reb, ran the company through a pandemic, launched a console, opened a theme park, released a movie, like so much stuff happened in the last few years. And he was there for all of it.
Yeah. I mean, sometimes it's okay if like a president can get stuff done in the background and not make a big loud mess every single day. Like
I would rather know less about company presidents in my day-to-day life, honestly.
I think that it should be like a camera in a video game where you don't have to think about it too much. It just works, right? So I'm fine with that.
We don't need to form parasocial relationships with corporate executives.
No, we don't. It's weird that I was lamenting about this. This is total side tangent, but I was lamenting about this to a friend the other day where I was like, you know, I'm like an elder millennial, but like a cool thing about like the 90s was that I didn't know what like corporate execs and billionaires were doing every single day. It was just, you know, like I didn't, there was no social media. I wasn't like following Bill Gates on MySpace and being like, oh, what'd you have for lunch today? You know, like, I don't care. Like just do what you have to do and get stuff done. And for Nintendo, it was, especially in the 90s, it was sort of mysterious, right? As an American being like, this is a Japanese company that occasionally blesses us with like these amazing games and consoles. And I don't know too much about them. And then with all the E3s, it became sort of like you had to get up there and speak all the time. And, you know, like Jada and I are on a PlayStation show, and you can kind of define like how PlayStation is doing by what their CEO is saying or guiding at any given moment. And like they had just gone through basically a pivot where they put 13 of their studios on like games as a service games, and the majority of them didn't pan out. And like that, you can unquantifiably track that. Like that was a bad business decision that didn't work out. And so I don't want to be buddies with whoever decided to do that. And they had to close studios and games. I'm
gonna be honest, even if that strategy had worked out, I still wouldn't have wanted to be buddies with them. Like it's very cool that we have more avenues to get more information from presidents and people who are making this product that we love, and having that more ways of communication. That is great. I generally, though, just don't care much. Like, let them live their life, run their company, do their job. They don't care what I'm doing unless I'm saying something directly about them and quoting about them. You know what I mean? And that's even
they care
less,
what your wallet's doing.
They care what my wallet is doing. That is all they care about. Okay, that's not fair. That's not all they care about.
That's a little far.
That is a little far.
It's their job to care about
that. It is their job to care about that. Yes, correct. That is the middle ground that we're looking for.
If they cared about what you were doing, they wouldn't have shut down Concord because you were the only person playing that game.
Oh God! Oh man, that's such a
Sorry.
good thing. It's fine.
All that being said, I really liked Doug in the few times that I met him. I interviewed him twice and ran into him a couple other times, and always just found him to be just a very nice, kind, gentle guy. Like, I really enjoyed talking to him. He gave really nice interviews. Yes, very corporate, but it's going to be corporate. He's going to be one of the most media trained people on the planet, but very respectful, very cordial. I always really liked him and always thought he was doing a nice job. And he's 60 now. I think running Nintendo of America is an extraordinarily demanding job, just from a little bit of what I know about what it's like to work there internally. It's like, yeah, you hop on calls with NCL at 9:00 on a Tuesday night because they're in Japan and you got to talk to them on the phone. And it's like, yeah, maybe he just wants to be done doing that and go enjoy living in the greatest state in the country, which is Washington State, where he lives. And I think that's just
until he moves out next. Like in 2 months, moves away. It's like,
yeah, but Reggie retired when he was like 58 or 57. Doug's 60, so he's older than Reggie was when he retired. And again, this is a small corner of the community, but I saw some people saying, yeah, he did such a bad job talking about the pricing of Mario Kart World. They pushed him out. No way, absolutely not. This had to be planned. He made it through the busiest year Nintendo's like ever had. Like we said, they launched a console. The dust has settled on that. This is a nice time to step away. That was like his last big checkbox to do.
That's super common too. Like you have like executives or like team leaders or whatever who they have a big project. They get it out the door. They do the media circuit. They let the dust settle just a little bit, and then that's when they walk away, because then you want whatever your new group is going to be, because they're already Nintendo's already working on the next console. Oh yeah, write a headline about that. No, but it's absolutely true, right? Like Nintendo is already working on whatever the successor to the Switch 2 is, because that's how this business works. And so they need to have their leadership and their structure in place to work through the entire cycle of that. So it just makes sense.
Plus, go out on a win. Like always try to go out on a win.
And also, I think we just glossed over this a little bit. Like, he was responsible for marketing the release of the Switch. Go back to that time in your mind. Nobody had faith that was going to be successful.
No.
And the marketing was fantastic in North America. Like, they showed what it was. That first trailer of somebody up in their PJs, letting their dog out to pee, playing Breath of the Wild, the inside and then outside.
Rooftop wine parties.
I was going to say,
the rooftop
parties, baby.
Yeah. Thank you, Doug, for the rooftop party. So yeah, that is the end of the Bowser era.
We almost got there, Logan, with the Switch 2. We were sitting in that hotel lobby playing Mario Kart in handheld mode, and I believe I had a glass of wine with me. So we were close.
Just needed to go to the roof. We were very close. Yeah. So let's shift gears. Bowser will be there for a couple more months, but we're gonna transition to Devon Pritchard, who, as I mentioned, has led Nintendo of America's legal team and worked on their marketing and consumer experience. Those are the two main pillars of NOA. Like, they have some developers there, some product testers, localizers, but really legal, marketing, two huge branches of Nintendo of America. And she released a statement saying, "I'm humbled and excited to take on this new role. Doug has been a fantastic mentor, and I look forward to building on the incredible foundation he has helped establish. With characters and worlds that offer something for everyone, my focus will be continuing to build on Nintendo's legacy of surprising and delighting our longtime fans, while at the same time welcoming new players into the Nintendo family." I will point out Doug's favorite word was consumers, and he said that in his exit statement as well. Yeah. And then Devon says players in hers, so you can already see that minor difference. But anyways, another kind of wrinkle in this is that Satoru Shibata will join Nintendo of America as Chief Executive Officer. So NOA is going to have a CEO above Pritchard, which they've had before. Tatsumi Kimishima was the CEO above Reggie until like 2013. So then they didn't have that role for a while, but they're kind of reinstating kind of just liaison between NCL in Japan and Nintendo of America in the United States. So I think someone to just make those communication lines easier. But yeah, this is the first woman to ever be president of Nintendo of America, which is a big deal.
That is a big deal. And it is sort of interesting because you don't often think of like Nintendo's not out there actively banging the diversity, equity, inclusion drum like as loudly as many other companies in the industry do, or as loudly as, frankly, I think they should. But it is also really notable that they've had Reggie and now they have Devon Pritchard, who are like two very, very notable presidents in the history of video games. Like just in terms of being the first in their group to like head up a giant company. And that kind of rules. Like, good for them.
Yeah, no, I remember growing up and reading like Nintendo Power and seeing Gail Tilden's name and then Perrin Kaplan and being like, oh, this is really cool. Every other magazine I got was just like 11 people that look like me, right? So, and I saw people being like, oh, it's a DEI hire. When someone works at a company for 20 years, that's not. I don't think you know what that means. I know that we all learn 5 words from the same 5 people.
They only learn 3 letters. Brian.
Why is
3
it
letters.
Why is it a DEI hire? Do you think a woman can't be president of the company? Is that what you're saying?
I didn't say it.
No, not you. I'm arguing with the hypothetical audience who's saying that. Who
I hope so.
I
I have a daughter. I want her to run a video game company one day. I can retire and stop doing this show.
Brian, I'm not concerned about your opinions about women.
Show. I heard what you almost said.
Brian, I hope that you never get to retire. I hope that your daughter does get to run a big video game company and you still have to run one of these shows just to talk about her business.
With a huge disclaimer on every episode. My daughter runs this company, so... Okay, wow. Okay, let's read it a little bit.
I'm here to interview my daughter today. The president of...
I'm like, I'm 90 years old. When am I going to DIE hire?
I don't even know where to go from.
No, this is why I'm on the show like once every 6 weeks. Just coming with a sledgehammer.
Devon Pritchard seems fine. I don't know very much about her at all, and per our previous conversation about not needing to have parasocial relationships with company executives, this sounds like a mean thing to say, but I don't mean it in a mean way. I hope I continue to not know a whole lot about her. I hope she continues to run. Seems fine. Seems like she's going to run Nintendo just fine. I hope she does that. And ideally, nothing bad happens, and then I never have to, worry about it or learn anything about her, and she can go be a perfectly fine executive. Like, that's the ideal situation, right? Which is what we had with Doug Bowser. I barely ever thought about Doug Bowser, except occasionally to make fun of his name.
There is one fact that I would like to know about Devon, and that will determine if I like or dislike her for her entire tenure as the president of Nintendo. And that's who her favorite Pokemon starter is. That's the only person that's all I care. If it's
that's
Bulbasaur,
all you care about.
If it's Bulbasaur, we're good. We're good.
I think they asked for that in the interview for the job, too.
Yeah. I think actually, that does actually raise a good point. Like, I don't want to have... I've just made a big deal about how I don't want to have parasocial relationships with company executives, but I do wish, and I wish this about Bowser, too. I wish that they would... It's okay to give us like a teeny bit of humanity in these corporate statements. Like, what's their favorite Nintendo game? I guess Bowser talked about playing Donkey Kong like a million years ago, but whomst among us did not play Donkey Kong a million years ago if we were alive back then? Like, that's the most canned, like, generic, oh, I'm a fan of classic arcade games. Great, congratulations. Like, what are you playing now? Are you playing any Nintendo games now? I would like to know. And I don't know. I'm just curious.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. I've seen a lot of people saying, "Well, I hope she's a gamer. I hope she's going to be in all the directs." And I don't think so. It's kind of going back to what I said earlier. I don't think this is going to be some big opportunity for another Reggie, because I don't think Nintendo wants another Reggie. They don't want a face of a company, of the American subsidiary of this Japanese video game developer. They don't want that again. Like, they had it with Reggie. It was great while it lasted. That's not who Nintendo is anymore. Now they want this very corporate blanket. Every Nintendo game's a Nintendo game. Every Direct's a Direct. They're all the same. It's all under this one big umbrella. I think we'll see her from time to time. I think we'll see her be introduced probably in the February Direct next year, which will be just a month and a half after she takes over as president. And we'll see her at all the big events, the Zelda red carpet, all these things. But I don't think it's going to be big skits again with Devon and she's your best bud. It's not what Nintendo wants. I think it's going to be very in line with what Doug was. She occasionally shows up, she gives a speech at the grand opening of a store, and then she fades into the background till the next big thing happens.
She'll give like very, very PR monitored interviews like twice a year, just like Doug Bowser did. And that's fine. Run your company.
Her legal background makes me think we're about to see Nintendo cease and desists at levels we've never seen before. I think if you draw a Pokemon at your desk, a lawyer will show up. Like, if you're making a fan game right now, you better get that out tomorrow, because it's
all that like Pikachu going to war AI stuff.
Oh man, I mean, I hope they go after that. I hope everybody goes after that.
Yeah.
I'm normally like very, oh my God, the lawyers are going off after all these things and like leave the fan projects alone or whatever. But the AI
AI
stuff,
slop. Yeah,
that's fine. You go fight that.
And then the other piece, just to touch on quick, because Reb, you shared a fun video of this guy, Mr. Shibata, who was formerly the president of Nintendo of Europe from 2000 to 2018. He moved back to Japan. He's on the board of directors at NCL. And yeah, he's gonna be CEO of Nintendo of America, but still likely operate out of Japan. And you shared a fun video of him sharing his 3DS collection from like 12 years ago, and it was just like the cutest thing.
Yeah, he's like going through all of like not his games, but like his actual like 3DSs, and he has like 12 different ones or something in different colors, different regions. He talks about really enjoying Street Pass. He talks about what games he's playing on them. See, like I don't know. I guess I'm asking for two completely opposite things here, but like this is like the exact level of humanity that I want. I don't need skits. The skits and the Muppets are fun, but I don't need them from corporate executives. I don't need them from this guy. But this one little video just sort of introducing himself in the context of his relationship with Nintendo is nice. And now I know some fun facts. I know that he likes Nintendo. I'm happy. I can move about my day.
Showing off like their passion for why they're at Nintendo and why they love their job. That's the type of like stuff that I like to see. Because that also helps if I get a chance to interview them. It gives me an idea of like a string I can tug on to kind of like open them up for more questions about something like that. Something that they're very interested to talk about. Because these, heads of companies and even developers of all levels, their job is to talk about the game they're working on, and that is what they have to talk about. And that's what 99% of interview questions are going to be about. But that 1% that questions where you get to just kind of spark the joy in their heart of like, hey, I know you're a huge 3DS fan. What was your favorite, type of 3DS? That type of stuff is just something that I'm sure they're like ecstatic to talk about because they get to kind of go off, not off the record, but off track and just kind of like do their own thing for a little bit.
Yeah, we've already seen a little bit of that from Devon. So she spoke at the Switch 2 launch event at Nintendo San Francisco. I found this really like crappy phone video of this on YouTube that somebody posted. Like you can see like Ryan McCaffrey and Bill Trin and like in this video. But she's speaking about this launch of this console, and she's like, I can't wait to go home, play as Cow, and like beat my 2 teenage boys at Mario Kart World. And that's already like
That's exactly what I wanted. Great.
Yeah, it's fun.
Good for her.
Yeah. So very cool. And also Shibata is a Ace Attorney fan, which is great. That's great to hear too.
I thought you would like that video when I sent you that. And Layton as
he
well.
like cosplayed as Phoenix Wright once, and there's like a picture of him doing the Phoenix Wright point.
Oh, that's cute.
With his slick back hair. But congratulations to Doug on retiring later this year, and we're excited for Devon to take over at NOA. Thanks for watching this clip from Nintendo Voice Chat. Be sure to catch the full episode over at youtube.com/IGN Games. New episodes of NVC drop every Friday on IGN Games, IGN.com, and your favorite podcast platforms. With the Nintendo Switch 2 finally here, there is so much to dive into. We appreciate you tuning in, and don't forget, NVC is the only place you can get the thing.